What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Koppai Podcast, a Nintendo show, our E3 2017 reactions episode. I am one of your hosts, Kazdermisk, joined alongside Mr. Koppai himself, Zach Risk.
They've done it again.
They won, and we got a whole lot to talk about. I don't know. I've been telling my wife this. I don't know if it's because we're like huge Nintendo fans or what. But I think it's abundantly clear that they won E3. If there's like, if you can win E3 and that's like a whole thing that we've kind of made up on our own. Like, the gaming community has said like, oh, this person won E3. Like it's, it's not really a thing. There's not a winner at E3 that gets a trophy. But I think for all intents and purposes, they have won E3 as far as, the biggest surprises, the best announcements, the best presentation, the best flow, pacing, follow up with the treehouse. Like they had stuff coming in 2017, hype for 2018 and beyond. So it wasn't just like, what was it? Bethesda had only 2017, and then Sony basically had only 2018. Like,
yeah,
they had a perfect balance back and forth. So we're gonna talk about all of that. But in case you're new here, we are an all Nintendo podcast that posts each and every week on YouTube.com. I'm so excited. YouTube.com/Koppai Gaming, as well as SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, and other various podcast services as Koppai Podcast. Each week we discuss the games we're playing, the news in the Nintendo pipeline, a topic of the show. But this is a little bit of a special episode because this isn't even a numbered episode. This is just our E3 reactions. But if you do like all of that, be sure to leave us a review, smash that subscribe button, smash that like button, smash that bell to be notified of when we post videos, and you'll be a happy camper. But yeah, Zach, we just wrapped up the Nintendo Spotlight, and then we saw some early Treehouse coverage. I think you've already kind of answered the question, but how you feeling?
I'm feeling awesome. I'm feeling so good. I think that they surpassed my expectations. I'm still a little bit bummed, no Animal Crossing, but a little salty about that. But otherwise, I mean, they did what I thought they needed to do. I was kind of talking in the last episode. Animal Crossing is not really gonna turn heads, in the wider.
Well, and there's also the mobile game coming later. So I mean, that Animal Crossing is a game that could be like a direct or something. It's like, hey, and it comes out in a couple months.
Yeah, totally. I think that's what I'm kind of expecting. They'll talk about that whenever they're ready to reveal the mobile title or something like that. But regardless, I thought that it was just all amazing. I thought the presentation that they put together was, I don't know, some were like kind of complaining about it, maybe saying it lacked a little bit of charm. I thought it was very charming and great, and
fit right in with the kind of theme they have going with the Switch. Like, we have B-roll playing right now if you're watching on YouTube, this feeling of going anywhere and playing anywhere. They tied that really in well with the concept of, Super Mario Odyssey and going on a journey.
We were kind of swept away the whole time. Like, Reggie was really fooling me. I thought he was in a real house, and then suddenly
I noticed towards the end when he was walking a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I knew his feet were on a green screen of sorts, because you could kind of see the angle of his feet were a little weird, and I'm like, something's not right there. Why? Like, I was wondering why he was on a green screen. Like, why didn't they just film it in a house? Like, did they just not have the resources to film in a house? Then it falls apart and gets completely destroyed. But no, they did great with that. No, I mean, we've talked about it. We'll real quick touch on this because we have a lot of other things to talk about. We don't want to spend too much time on this because we will have episode 61 this weekend where we take a deep dive into everything, probably more so focused on Super Mario Odyssey this weekend. As we get more details and gameplay of it this week, we're going to cover everything today and then focus probably more on Super Mario Odyssey this weekend. But just with the general, what we see at E3, E3 is kind of a combination of super cringy moments and then super epic announcements. And the cringy moments usually come from developers who aren't used to talking on stage. They're used to just being in front of their computers developing games. You have people that are developers from Japan or from, Europe or France or, all these places that, maybe not like be accustomed to American culture or language. And so you have that kind of barrier, and you get all these cringy, awkward moments, EA being like the king of them this year. But even, some moments with Microsoft where a developer comes on stage and they're just not really completely ready to go, or they may like have a good presence, but they don't knock it out of the park. And Sony usually avoids that with having one person to the show, but Nintendo does it even better where they have just pre-recorded stuff so they can edit out the cringe. But sometimes they've also had like a 10-minute diversion where they show like a developer interview or something, and it can get a little lackluster in the pacing. And this year it was like trailer with just a little bit from the developers, really just to offer context. Like with the Pokemon announcement, for example, it was like, hey, I'm not here to like give a full interview on who I am and what's up with my game. I'm just here to give you the straight up facts that this game's not coming out for a while. Moving on,
Yeah.
Once he said what he needed to say, he didn't give a teary monologue about how hard developing the game has been. Like, he just moved on, and that was all we needed. And so the pacing was awesome. So they won the presentation aspect of it, the pacing aspect of it, the trailers, the surprises. They rocked it. Like, man, I'm on fire.
Totally.
And the treehouse is still going on, and they're announcing new things. I'm kind of worried to be recording this, but
yeah.
We'll get back to it. We'll be fine.
When is the tournament thing going on? Is that tomorrow or the next couple?
No, Splatoon 2 is at, I think, 4 p.m. our time.
Okay.
It's like 2 p.m. Pacific time or something like that. And then ARMS and Pokken, I believe, are tomorrow.
Okay.
And so
just wondering if we're going to get maybe another announcement. I'm still holding out for Smash and Animal Crossing were the only two that I was really wanting. I know a lot of people.
Smash, I think
well, we
there's
were
like a
talking
10% chance that Smash could pop up still, but there is a chance, I think.
Yeah, and we were kind of talking too that, that's not. We've had Smash out. I don't think that's something they should have used up their presentation with. I think they used their presentation up with like everything that was important and that they should have. I'm so glad that they didn't really talk anything about the 3DS and even saved Metroid, the Samus Returns until after the show. Like it was completely Switch dedicated.
The presentation
was awesome.
Yeah, and I had called that in my prediction that it would be the 3DS. I think unless it had been for Fire Emblem Warriors, I don't think the 3DS was mentioned at all.
Yeah, I think we can safely say that you won the E3 predictions. You called Metroid. That was a big call. That was a big.
Well, if I do it every year, then I'll
true.
get it right one year. But yeah, no, I think we'll talk about maybe that more this weekend. We'll go through our predictions and comb through them and see who got what. But yeah, obviously there's the disappointments of like, where's Smash? Where's Animal Crossing? Where's... I think people were maybe hoping for Virtual Console, and they were hoping for maybe even like some people were hoping for kind of the logistics side of things. Like, can we get maybe cloud saves for our game, or can we get this stuff? And especially with the tone established in this presentation, that just wasn't the place for something like that. But could honestly be something this week. Like they've already announced new amiibo,
right?
New things like that. But we'll get to all of that. This episode's topic of the show is the Nintendo pipeline, which is the 11 most awesome things from today's presentation that I actually pulled thanks to an article by Brian Crescente over on Polygon. So thank you, Brian, for writing this. You didn't give us permission to use it, but we pulled it anyway, basically just to get a highlight list. So thanks, Brian, for collaborating and or for pulling those and culminating those all together. So let's unclog the E3 Nintendo pipeline. Each week we dive deep into Nintendo's pipes to find out what's happening in the world of Mario and friends. And this week we have 11 pipe plug-in news bits. Huge little bits that need to be dealt with. Number 1, as you can see here happening, just randomly announced in the beginning montage, Rocket League is coming to the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that was one of the first major surprises of the presentation for me, at least. I really was. We'd a lot of people had talked about wanting it, and I think the developers had even said expressed some interest, but nothing had ever been
Jeremy Dunham,
totally
Beyond.
What's that?
Oh, sorry, I'm taking a drink. No, I was just shouting out Beyond because the guy that made Rocket League is the original founder of Podcast Beyond.
And there was a little bit of confusion, if the Switch would even be able to handle it. It doesn't seem like it's too intensive, but they do really good with the 60 frames a second. There's a lot of grass, particles and cool effects that they do that you want it to be running very, very smoothly and effectively, and you also kind of want it to look nice. And so there was a little bit of concern if the Switch was even going to be able to handle it. and that is just so awesome that we finally get it confirmed. And it's also been confirmed it'll be 1999, which was another like a thing that I was concerned about, is because it's been $20 and even goes on sale a lot on other consoles and on PC. That are they going to do this $10 extra or even $20 for Rocket League?
Yeah, Mario hat or something, like, oh, you get the Mario edition or the Mario hat
included. So I mean, sometimes they do that, like with Minecraft, where they throw in some bonuses where the price is a bit justified. And if they throw in DLC and they keep it for $20, that'll be just totally justifying the repurchase for me since I have it on PS4. I'll be getting
it. It's huge that it has cross-network play. Like, yeah, it features all the other modes, but yeah, cross-network. So essentially, for those of you that maybe don't know what that means or what like the weight of that is, when you play Rocket League online, you can play just seamlessly. Like, it's just automatically going to connect you with PlayStation players, Xbox players, and PC players. It's one of the very few games that actually does that. I believe actually maybe, I don't know how it exactly works, but I think maybe you're like connected to PC. I don't know.
I know
maybe,
PlayStation,
or maybe it is all the way around.
I'm pretty sure they're out. I know Sony's like refusing to do this crossplay with Minecraft and with Rocket League.
Yeah.
And
I wonder if with the Minecraft thing, if Sony's refusing the Minecraft deal, or if it was never even offered to them.
I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're still kind of being grudgy about Nintendo, and also they're just a little bit more direct competition with Nintendo, I'd say, than Microsoft are, because Microsoft, are much more American based. Sony and Japan are there,
and Microsoft's more competition with PlayStation than Nintendo. So
and Microsoft really needs that support from Japan. It seems like they just don't have any of those games coming from there, and so any kind of, I don't know, teamwork they can do with Nintendo, I think, would help them. They don't have any, real buzz except for their third-party stuff going on. That I think that Sony is just still very much in competition with them. That might be it. I mean, it could be other reasons too. It doesn't make a ton of sense. But yeah, it being crossplay is really, really awesome.
Yeah, so it'll be nice, because if you're worried about picking up Rocket League because it's such a heavy multiplayer game, because you're like, well, there's only, how many Switches out there compared to tens and tens of millions on, or tens of millions players on Xbox and PC. Like, I'm going to go to the place where I can have more matchmaking, more online, like, filled lobbies. Like, I want to be able to play with people that are, online all the time.
Right.
And this guarantees that even if only 3 people pick it up on Switch, you're going to have that entire community to play with. And so, awesome. And there's probably going to be, Grand Prix and all that you can play on the go. I saw some footage. I think maybe it was even in that intro reel of people playing it, on the go, and it just looks so great. Pro Controller is going to rock with it. And I don't know, does this game rely on, like, with triggers, like where you play, like where how like on typical racing games, when you pull the trigger on a controller, you can kind of rev up your engine and all that. But with Nintendo, and I guess even with a keyboard and mouse, it's really just, click, click, click. Like, there's either on or off. Like, did Rocket League ever have much reliance? Yeah, was it a digital racer all along?
I'm not sure.
Because kart is like a digital racer. You can't slow down or speed up in Mario Kart. You either have the gas pedal on or you have it off. So.
And I'm not completely positive about that. I'm pretty sure the DualShock 4s have analog triggers back there for the...
Yeah.
And I'm not completely confident that the Xbox One does, because using it as...
They have analog triggers, because you can actually flip a switch, I know, on the Elite controller to make it so it essentially is a digital analog stick.
Oh, yeah?
Because people, I think, like digital for shooters, because you can just click, 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 and shoot. But for racers, they like analog. And at Xbox Elite, you can switch that on and off.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the typical Xbox controller has that ability.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, because, I don't know what they'll do about that exactly. And I'm not even completely sure that Rocket League even uses that.
Yeah, we don't know. But yeah, exciting, and holiday 2017, like, it's right around the corner. Probably, expect it within the next few months. So super exciting. Let's move on here. A game I don't know too much about, so my hype may be a little bit less on this, but Xenoblade Chronicles is getting a sequel on Nintendo Switch this holiday. We actually already knew that the sequel was coming. It was announced at the initial presentation of the Nintendo Switch. but we got a bigger look at it today. The game is a follow-up to the original Wii role-playing game, and it'll feature a new group of heroes as they journey to the land of Elysium. And it seems to kind of feature a more chibi art style a little bit, I think, compared to like Shulk, and like they looked a little bit more normal in the original Xenoblade. So maybe they needed to pull it back a little bit for the Switch, but to also be HD. I'm not too sure. Because even Chronicles seem to be kind of like the characters seem to be more normal looking. These guys seem just a little bit squished, in my opinion.
Well, it seemed like the main character was maybe a bit younger or something. I'm not entirely
maybe that's
sure,
it.
because I was noticing throughout the trailer as they showed more people, like a lot of people were looking completely normal compared to the main character, because other people were just like, they'd fit anywhere in the Xenoblade universe. The main character seemed like he's like wearing this blue, like kind of cutesy outfit or armor than Shulk did, but at the same time, he seems a little bit
so cool.
Seems a little bit younger, so that could definitely be it. But I noticed that at first too, but then as I've seen more, I'm kind of thinking that it's more of just like an age thing, but we'll have to see as we see more of the game for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game we were kind of hoping, I think, talking even in the predictions episode or talking some other time, that like it'd be so nice to get, they have Xenoblade Chronicles on the 3DS, the new 3DS, and then Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U. It'd be nice to bring both of those onto the Switch, just like as HD versions, just so we could catch up in time for the sequel. Because I'm not as familiar with this universe as like every other Nintendo thing we're going to be talking about today. But it's always fun to have an open world on the Switch and just have another game on the Switch, and the mechanics of these games always seemed pretty cool, so definitely an exciting thing, and it's probably going to be a huge hit for the audience that actually really likes that. But I don't have too much other stuff to say about it. Moving forward, there's a new Kirby game for the Nintendo Switch, currently simply named Kirby. So whoever leaked that out there, every year we get fake press releases for, gaming companies, and someone leaked out Kirby working title. So they showed that today, and first look at the title showed melee weapons, inhaling enemies, changing shapes, but also kind of fitting with Super Mario Odyssey, the ability to possess other enemies and use them to make co-op partners, either computer or presumably, I think, you can actually have 4 people playing co-op with, playing as the enemies, which is kind of cool because instead of having someone else just inhale the enemies, you just have someone play as the enemy. And it looks like it's kind of a more traditional Kirby game compared to something like was it Giant Roboto or whatever? Project Giant Robot, where Kirby's in a robot outfit, or Triple Deluxe, where it's all about the 3 different areas or planes. This seems to be more just like a generic Kirby game where you're going through Kirby levels and hailing enemies, but you got some friends along for the ride with you. And so
it's very traditional, going back old school, because I haven't played really any of the past few 3DS games, or past 2 or so, whatever it was. But I had heard that they kind of stepped back a bit from just the traditional, just inhaling enemies and taking over their...
very power-up based, like I was saying. Like, it was all about the robot suit, all about the...
And so now we're just kind of going back to the roots a bit more, with still a little bit of that co-op, because it's the Switch, and they're kind of forcing that on everybody a bit. But one of the first things I noticed about this game is just how gorgeous it looks. It reminds me a bit of the N64 one, that when they like kind of first tried to bring Kirby to the 3D world, and they kind of had that more, it was 2D, but it was kind of coming at you. So this is a little bit different, but it just feels that's what they were kind of going for. It's just this super gorgeous, 3D, 2D-esque space that's just, the definition of Kirby, the absolute maturity of the series, bringing it to its completion on the Switch. Basically, this is its home. It seems like this is going to be the ultimate Kirby experience to have. For me to like step back in after I'm not sure if I'll be picking up Triple Deluxe now at this stage.
I think you should. I played Triple Deluxe when we were, was it last year, stuck at that airport for like 7 hours. I played through actually quite a few worlds in Triple Deluxe while we were stuck there. I don't know why I was drawn to that game specifically at the airport, but I played it for several hours, and it was I think Triple Deluxe is my favorite Kirby game that I've ever played.
Yeah.
And when I've played the demo of Planet Robobot, that felt like more of the same, if not better, than Triple Deluxe. And so I think both of those games together are some of the best Kirby games we've had, even though if they're the traditional formula. And so I think if you can find them on sale, or I know there's a digital sale going on right now with the eShop. If you can find those games, like maybe even like leading up to, because this is a 2018 game, if you can play those maybe leading up to this one, I think they're worth checking out still, even though no one wants to play their 3DS now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to pull out my 3DS again here in the future because I'm definitely going to be playing the new Metroid game. So
yeah,
I'll be revisiting it. It's not going to be dead probably through the next year or so. So,
Yeah. Moving forward, there's more Pokemon coming to the Nintendo Switch. We did have Pokken Tournament DX announced, what was it, a week ago or a couple weeks ago, and that'll be coming out in August. But the Pokemon Company today announced that they are working on a yet-to-be-named mainline core Pokemon RPG game, which is the first time we've ever had a mainline Pokemon game coming to, well, is considered to be a home console, which is huge, huge news, because I think people were kind of assuming, obviously, after Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, I guess now they're going to come out with the mainline Pokemon game on the Switch. But I don't think, they could have easily stayed on the 3DS for another year or two, which they still may, but they could have also been kind of stubborn with it and maybe done a mystery dungeon or something like that on the Switch, tried to find a way to make it so it wasn't a traditional RPG or mainline Pokemon. They could have kind of stuck with their message that Pokemon's only on portable consoles and that the Switch isn't technically a portable console. But they gave up today and just said, you know what, no, we're going to be making a mainline Pokemon RPG. They did warn us that it'll probably be, what was his words, over a year away. So that's probably, I don't take that to mean, over a year would be fall 2018. I'm thinking this is fall 2019. This is years and years away. They probably are just starting on development for it, wrapping up Sun and Moon, and getting started on this next one. So it's probably years down the line, whole new region. Expect awesome things, but it's a ways away.
And basically, here's my Pokemon Stadium finally here on the Switch. Pokemon Stadium Switch, because the battle system that they have in the new current gen games it's essentially the same as what Pokemon Stadium was, only it's better. I mean, it actually looks on the 3DS, graphically it looks even better than it did, on the N64 Pokemon Stadium games. So that brought not only in that look, but brought to HD from the ground up in a new system with a new environments and all that. It'll just be absolutely mind-blowing. I'm so glad that we finally got it confirmed. What?
I guess you got your Stadium announcement.
Yeah.
You're happy.
Yeah.
You didn't get Animal Crossing, but you got Pokemon Stadium in a sense.
That's better than Animal Crossing. I could have wished. And so, and I'm super glad. I'm with you that I'm glad it wasn't some Shadow of Lugia Deluxe.
Yeah, or even Conquest or something.
Yeah, something like. Well,
he was very clear to say this is the mainline series. He set expectations perfect, and so super hype. We'll probably get a trailer for that or a direct or something next year.
Yeah, it almost seems
or maybe even something later. But
yeah, it almost seems like he was sorry, from the reaction of their last Pokemon Direct that. All the dislikes and them being, where is the Switch one? It's he's just sitting at his desk oh, hey, sorry about the whole thing. It's coming. We're working on it.
Yeah, I love how he didn't even hold up what he was drawing, a concept piece of art for it. He was just hey, I have nothing for you, but I'll get to it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, we're working on it. It's coming.
And then the most hyped news probably of all of E3, fading onto the screen was a blue, spacey, celestial sort of art piece. It formed into a 4, and the entire internet lost its mind. Then the 4 really sunk in, followed by Metroid Prime 4, now in development. Good news, bad news. We know that Metroid's in the works. Bad news is we know nothing about it, and it's probably not coming out for a while. If if they don't have anything to show for it, it's probably a 2019 game. But
Yeah.
it's exciting nonetheless that they haven't forgotten Metroid, that they haven't given up on Metroid, that it's not only Metroid, but it's Metroid Prime, which a lot of people are super excited for, like to have another Prime game, and also that it's coming to the Switch. And I actually, looking here at my list of B-roll and things to show and my notes and all that for OBS here, I have more pieces of Metroid news than any other video game, which is so weird, to have. Like, after leaving Nintendo E3, I would not think that we'd have more Metroid news than anything else. But because we're going to get to it later, but they also announced a new Metroid 2D game coming to the 3DS, which is a remake of one of the classic Metroid games. And there's Metroid Amiibo coming out this year, and so it's Metroid, and it is good to notify, or what would it be? Clarify that it's not Retro Studios working on Metroid Prime. So I got that part of my prediction wrong. It's a new studio, I believe. I don't know if I have it in the notes here who's making it. But it is being overseen by the original executive producer of the Metroid Prime trilogy. So so don't worry about that. Like, it's going to have that influence. It's not like they're on bad blood or anything. It's just Retro Studios is probably busy with something else. And also, I think Nintendo has proven in the past, recently, that their kind of younger studios or their new, fresh studios can sometimes really reinvigorate a game. And bring something new and fresh to it. Like for example, Miyamoto is not making Super Mario Odyssey, and I don't think it was even Aonuma necessarily that was the director of Breath of the Wild. I think it was a different team than a normal Zelda game. So I mean, Nintendo's doing this a lot recently, where they're kind of bringing in new studios to work on their beloved IPs, and so it's exciting.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think it'll be bad.
No, and they did it finally the way everybody's been asking them to do for years now, is just come out, do the whole just logo on the screen, and then just be done.
Yeah.
And they did, and that's what I mean. The whole me complaining about no Animal Crossing announcement. I felt that if I've said it a couple times, people weren't going to be very interested. This is what they're right now blowing up on like the front page of Reddit, and a whole bunch of news and gaming sites are running with Metroid. And it seems Nintendo, if they wanted to win, I think they did their presentation perfectly, to where it's going to cause the industry and fans and non-Nintendo fans to really be looking over to Nintendo. If they would have done just, because, a lot of people joke that they will announce what we're expecting is Metroid, but what they'll announce is Kirby. I really like that they, instead of just sticking to Kirby and Yoshi and then Animal Crossing, they actually went to the more hardcore fans. They kind of appealed to both audiences at once, which was
they
really
have
awesome.
Metroid and Rocket League and a new Super Mario, like all in the same presentation.
Yeah.
Like those are like, that's some deep cut stuff there. Like, to bring it, like, Rocket League is such a huge thing, but not within the Nintendo circle. Like, you don't see the Nintendo community talking about Rocket League, but there are those people out there that would love it, and so they're appealing to them. And Metroid Prime and Metroid aren't the top selling games. Like, it's not like, it's the funny thing where it's the whole thing of, what we want to hear about is Kirby, what we get is, what we want to hear is Metroid, what we get is Kirby, but Kirby is gonna outsell Metroid. Like, it's just, what we want is a new Super Mario, what we get is Mario Kart 9, and Mario Kart 9's fun, but we want a new big Mario. But Mario Kart will outsell all of these games announced today combined. It's just, that's just the nature of it.
Well,
but they took a risk and just decided to. It's kind of, they're going to take a hit on Metroid Prime. Like, they're not going to make as much money as if they would have developed a game that is more mainstream. But it's about that goodwill of bringing people hyped for the Switch and excited to talk about and share Nintendo, and by extension, then all this other news is spread out rapidly.
Yeah, well, I think that one, it makes it shows that they're supporting more of a hardcore gamer and hardcore audience than just it kind of, Nintendo's had that reputation recently of just being the kids console. It's kind of a gamepad, feels like a kid's toy, Fisher Price, all that kind of crap. Now with Zelda and Xenoblade and pushing Metroid, bringing that back. And then Odyssey being more of a Nintendo or a Super Mario 64 and Sunshine, versus just the more linear Galaxy and 3D world. They're really going for a more mature hardcore audience. And I think that with something like Metroid, it's not really about the sales and how, taking a hit versus like how many people are going to pick it up, which actually it might do, better than they anticipate. But I think it's about
because of the hype.
It's about that PR. It's about the image that it sets and like just the message that it sends of coolness, of like that we
we're
understand.
Listening to you.
Yeah, it's not really about anything other than that, and that's really, I think, more powerful than Metroid Prime 4's sales will end up being. Is just that, it's kind of like backwards compatibility with the Xbox One and everything. It's like nobody's using it, but people gave him like a standing ovation when they announced that the original Xbox games are going to be playable.
Yeah, just because it's cool.
Yeah, because it's awesome. And it's like you're listening to us just because that's just what we want for those really, dedicated hardcore fans. And those are the ones too that always are like buying up more anyway of Nintendo's products. And maybe they're kind of realizing that more too, is that, people like us who are going to get those games are also the ones who are buying every
Neo Geo game.
Yeah. And so it's a really good message to send. It sends a message of confidence to the consumer, and that's really awesome. It shows that the Switch, I think, has, like they were talking about, IGN and like NVC and Pear always jokes about Kirby sending out at the end of a console's life cycle. Now we're just kind of getting so much support on the Switch. It's almost, we were talking about this the last episode, that we've been so used to such a drought that it's kind of mind-blowing and
it's overwhelming,
hard to process. But it's so awesome, and I think that they basically won E3 with this announcement.
Yeah, this was the biggest thing of E3. I think I'm trying to think of something that topped it, like that was more surprising, more powerful. Like, I just can't think of an announcement. Like, I mean, at Sony's conference, there was nothing like that I can think of that was a surprise announcement. Like, at Xbox, we knew that the Scorpio is coming. There was games and things that were kind of cool, but we had hinted at, and like we didn't know if Metroid was coming. We didn't know if that was ever, like, if it was ever going to be a thing again. Like, we didn't know if it was always going to be that kind of classic Nintendo series that only got things like Federation Force and a level in Nintendo Land. We didn't know where it was standing, and if we were to get it like a 2D Metroid, or if we were to get another Metroid Prime, or if the trilogy was kind of it. This was completely out of left field and done in the most kind of perfect, epic way possible. Like, I know there's gonna be people out there that are like, we didn't even see anything. Like, it's in development. Have fun with it in 2019. But still, it's like you're saying, it's Nintendo reaching out this message to fans, and so awesome announcement.
What's crazy to me too is almost just how much it seems they have so much coming this year. They're so packed already, and they already have a lot of 2018 already announced. It seems they almost have too much in development that they have to hold off and wait to even reveal some things until like the next E3. And so that's really awesome. And I was reading up on Switches sold about 5 million almost copies units now. And
that's crazy
compared to the Wii U's 12
million. And that's
million.
with struggling production. Like, if it were easily accessible, it'd probably be close to 10 million. Like, I wouldn't be surprised.
This is going to be an insanely well-selling system, and I'm really interested to see where it's at, what numbers are at in about 5 years. So
yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Moving forward, there's a new Yoshi coming out next year, and we got our first look at the always adorable Yoshi and what is his first adventures on the Nintendo Switch, and it seems to be like a Woolly World sort of sequel. It's not the Wario Woolly World that you were predicting, although he seemed kind of plushy. I'm not too sure. It seems to have a kind of a different feel than the typical Yoshi Woolly World aesthetic, but very similar. Like, they're just kind of doubling down on that. That Yoshi is the cute little plushy guy.
Yeah.
The game is set to hit next year, though. They did say at the end that it was 2018. I don't think with any of these games they said if it was going to be early or late 2018. It just simply said 2018.
Yep.
I liked that Sony had a pretty clear and direct message of this will be 2018, or if it didn't say early, you could assume it was late, if not 2019. Nintendo, on the other hand, was just complete. This is 2018, probably because they're trying just to figure out when they can release it. I assume, like you were saying, they have almost too many games. That some games they just have to have being held back. Like, all right, this game's done. Just put it in the vault, and we'll start on the next one, and we'll get these out as we can.
Yeah.
Like some games, like I think even with what is it? Metroid, Return of Samus, or Samus's Return. I think like that game's probably almost done, but they just want it in the fall because they're busy with Fire Emblem now in the summer, and Hey Pikmin, and all of that. Like they want to put it off till later, and so. But yeah, the game looks adorable. It introduces kind of a Little Big Planet, a gameplay mechanic of you can go multi-dimensional. So it is a side-scrolling game technically, but there's moments where the side-scrolling path kind of breaks or opens up, and you're able to go, on the X-axis, Y-axis, Z-axis. Like you can just kind of break all through it. And go on multiple planes, similar to what Triple Deluxe did with Kirby.
And also Wario World for the Virtual Boy way back when. I think it was called Wario World, something like that. It was the Wario platformer that they originally released on the Virtual Boy, where you went kind of in the foreground and the background. And it's very much, and then also Donkey Kong Country Returns, I believe, also kind of uses that mechanic.
Yeah.
Tropical freeze and stuff.
Where you shoot the barrel back and all that.
I'm pretty sure it was first introduced and really first ever used by Wario in that original Virtual Boy game. I'm not sure if it goes on before that, but yeah, one of the things I was thinking about is how Woolly World seemed to take the development. We initially saw that, and it was more of an outline, kind of that Kirby's Epic Yarn look for Yoshi. And maybe now that they have the engine more complete and everything, it'll be quicker to dish it out. But it did seem like development time.
It's Unreal Engine.
Yeah, for the first
one.
It is. Like, you're serious?
Yeah, for this one, it's at the end of the trailer. They show Unreal Engine.
So I wonder what because it does seem like they've also built a lot of new assets for this game. It's not as just everything's made of yarn and stuff. It has a lot of cardboard. So. They've done, but it seems maybe they've also borrowed some of like Paper Mario's assets or something almost. Like, I'm not sure what's all going on with this game. It looks really awesome.
I thought it was Paper Mario at first.
Yeah, me too. Even Yoshi seems to be a little more like he has a fuzzy look to him, so he's a little more plushy. But
he's not like he's knit together. Right. Like he's pre-stitched, ready to go. Like he won't. It doesn't seem like he's gonna crumble and fall apart like he would, or even change color. Like it seems like he's locked into this, look.
And I'm also really.
I don't think he's like even unraveling things as he eats things. No. I think it's completely. So.
Yeah, and I was also really really glad that it wasn't a port. I was kind of anticipating. I was in like the back of my mind, there was that possibility to me that they would port Yoshi's Woolly World in the lieu of ports that we're getting from the Wii U, and really surprising and cool to see that they actually did a sequel sort of thing with it, and we're actually moving on beyond that because now I can actually go back and finish it on the Wii U and have a brand new Yoshi game coming in the future, not just like some port where I'll be like, I'll just wait to finish it, or not even get this one because why get it on Switch if I haven't, so that's all really awesome.
Yeah, I'm wondering, my only curious thing with this and the Kirby one is like Odyssey, for example, and a lot of other Switch games really set themselves up to be like exploring and collecting, and like no doubt this game will have collectibles, but I'm kind of wondering, this and Kirby were both two games that really didn't completely benefit from being taken on the go. Like Odyssey is all about going in wherever you are, being able to explore the Mario world. Kirby and this one just seem way more linear based, which is fine on the Switch, like just play it at home or just have it as a linear game. But it's been nice that a lot of games have really taken advantage of that, pick up and play for a little bit and move on. So we'll see how these ones do it. But these are the games that are also later out, so we'll probably see more details in a direct later.
It's kind of also cool to see that Yoshi's Woolly World must have done well, like on the Wii U and stuff. To be ported over to the 3DS then, and then to actually get a sequel so quickly. Yoshi must be doing really well. And I would assume Kirby's always just done really well, so it makes sense to put Kirby out and not really have to necessarily make it as socially driven. If they're just console sellers and game sellers, for people, and or if like parents or something are like, oh, I can get a Kirby and a Yoshi game too on this,
Yeah.
the Anna Mario and all these things.
Yeah, by the end of next year, we're gonna have a Mario Kart, a Super Mario, a Pokemon fighter, like a Pokemon fighter, a Yoshi, a Kirby. Like
That's
we're gonna
why I
have
just
like
think it's kind of it's kind of almost scary in a way of how well I think this system can do. Like, it's actually
yeah.
picking up pace more than I ever would have thought possible.
And they're all exclusives too. Like you can't get this on any other thing. Like it's only on Switch. Like it's crazy. Like that's the other thing. Like we have so many games coming up this year after the Ubisoft and Bethesda conference. Like all these third-party games coming to like PlayStation or PC or whatever you want to play. But there's multiple options. Like all this stuff that's announced today from Nintendo is only on the Switch. Like you get this isn't like a conference that not only blew it out the water with surprises and games to announce, but all of them are exclusively on this one platform and developed specifically for this platform. And also they're all going to be like pretty top-notch games. Like, with some of the announcements, like I was watching the Ubisoft conference, and one of the games that really got me excited was The Crew 2, because I'm like, that looks fun. I want a racing game. But looking at the reviews for the original Crew, that game got kind of low scores. And so some of the Ubisoft games, for example, it's not always a guarantee with that publisher that you're going to get, complete 100% quality. But Nintendo, for the most part, like, you can name specifically the bad games because there's so few of them, like...
Yeah.
But you can you can't even count how many lukewarm Ubisoft games there are because there's just so many of them that get published out there, which is mainly because Ubisoft is a completely different beast, but also it is kind of like, a nice comfort with Nintendo. So
yeah, and then there's Microsoft, spending 10 minutes doing a gameplay demo of or the next Middle Earth game that's coming to all platforms, and every single game it seems.
Or Anthem.
Yeah. Well, is that exclusive to Xbox? That wasn't completely sure.
No, it's just a marketing deal, like in the same way that Destiny gets put on the Sony show.
Right.
Like, Anthem is probably going to be the Microsoft game that is everywhere, but Microsoft is the one associated with it.
They had Cuphead though, which I am still super excited for.
Cuphead would be great on the Switch. Like
it needs to come to Switch, yeah, please.
Yeah, hopefully there's some sort of like back deal there. There's something or something, a loophole in the contract where they can have it on the Xbox for a year and then they can bring it.
Well,
to the Switch,
since we've seen with crossplay and Microsoft are being a little more friendly to Nintendo, it's at least not totally out of question. So,
moving forward, Fire Emblem Warriors launches this fall for the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo took a moment today to show off a new trailer for the game, which is basically the Dynasty Warriors, Hyrule Warriors game, action game, and the trailer gave us the first glimpse of our heroes and also gameplay. This game was announced at the Nintendo Switch presentation in January, but now we actually get some gameplay and some cutscene footage. And what amazed me about this and got me excited was, one, I loved Hyrule Warriors. I thought that game was super fun, and a Warriors game was going to be awesome on the Switch just to pick up and do some mindless fighting and just, hack and slash all your way through. But this game looks like the Fire Emblem cutscenes that are gorgeous in a beautiful art style. Like, it looks like the cutscenes, but it's gameplay. Like, it's crazy. And this isn't even, like, actual Nintendo necessarily, because, if you remember Hyrule Warriors, that game looked awesome, but the actual Zelda stuff, like, it wasn't actually, mainline Zelda. I just can only imagine how awesome the mainline Fire Emblem's going to be when that actually comes out. But looking at the B-roll here that we have for the YouTube audience, it looks like I'm watching a Fire Emblem Awakening or Fates cutscene, but it's them playing the game, and it's going to be awesome. And I'm happy it's not delayed, too. Like, it's going to come out in the fall. I don't know when, because we have Odyssey also coming out in the fall. So either this is going to be maybe the November game, because Odyssey is taking up the October slot, or maybe December, but December is a weird time to release games, so could be September. I don't know if we have... Oh, Pokemon's in September, so I don't know when it's coming out.
Yeah, I've never been too into these Warrior games.
Did you play Hyrule Warriors?
I've never played Hyrule Warriors. That's the one that is a little bit more of interest to me over this one at the moment. Like I'd want to play that one first, kind of.
Yeah, it's on 3DS, and you have the new 3DS, so it wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, I don't. I would kind of like. I can't really see them porting that to the Switch necessarily, but what I would like them to maybe do is like do one more series of Nintendo and make it Warriors, and then do like a collection of the Nintendo Warriors, collection of Zelda and Fire Emblem, and then one other one that they do, or something, so that I could finally play them. But they seem a little too mindless and hack.
Metroid Warriors.
Yeah.
How cool would that be?
That was the only other one I can really think of them doing, other than like Mario, which would be ridiculous.
Or Xenoblade, maybe. Like Xenoblade Warriors, or Pokken Warriors.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. But I just don't know if I want to jump into the Warriors series with this. There's still a lot of Fire Emblem that I have to go and experience and play, so I wouldn't be too familiar with some of these characters. I think that I would.
Yeah, like this trailer that's playing for the people watching on YouTube, and the one they showed today. If you're listening to the audio version, the Warriors trailer from E3. Like I knew all those characters. I'm just like, yes, like I can't wait to have Chrom fighting us alongside Xander or Xander. I don't know exactly how to say his names. Some of the names are super tough to say. But yeah, fighting alongside Marth and Marth I don't know as well, but yeah, no, an awesome plot line of an evil dragon fighting a good dragon that took over a sacred kingdom. Can't get better than that. So,
and I would like to play Hyrule Warriors, but going back to the Wii U is kind of the same as like the 3DS at this point. It's like I really don't want to do that.
It's clunky.
Yeah,
don't want it.
Slow load times.
Moving forward, 2 DLC packs hit Zelda Breath of the Wild soon, with the first content pack being the Master Trials content, and that comes out June 30th, and then the Champion's Ballad hits this holiday. The Master Trials we got an extended look at where it looks super awesome. It looks like you start with nothing and you have to progress your way through, 40 or 90 levels or something like that. So super awesome for those of you that have gotten all the upgrades and made your armor super legit, and you have like the best swords and the best weapons and the best abilities. This just scraps all of that, and it doesn't matter if you played the game for 10 hours or 200 hours. This Trial of the Sword mode will be the same for you, and it sounds like it'll be tough and hard and hopefully rewarding. Like that's my biggest concern, is that you'll finish this whole thing, and besides just the comfort of beating it, there won't really be like anything awesome with it. I think they said your Master Sword maybe is charged like all the time if you beat it. Like you just always have a charged Master Sword, which actually is a pretty nice reward. But I'm just wondering if there's anything else along the way that maybe makes it a little bit more awesome. But we'll see. Regardless, it's gonna be an excuse for me to hop back into it, because I'm definitely gonna hop back in for that mode. I loved Cave of Shadows and Twilight Princess, and they also have all the new armor coming, the new hero path mode where you can see where you've walked for the past 200 hours, and I've played the game for 150, so I'm going to be able to see everywhere I walked, and hopefully I have 200 Korok seeds. Hopefully I can find the rest of the next 700 with that, and I'll obviously turn on Master Mode, and so I'm really excited to return to Zelda, because I haven't really had a ton of motivation to do it since I found out about this expansion, because I knew the game was going to be best to return to with this expansion coming out, and I'm glad it's so soon. And the art looks awesome for it, so super excited. Maybe even gonna try to do some Let's Plays or live streams of me doing the Master Trials when that game comes out.
Also, we'll probably have that hard mode, right?
Yeah, that's Master Mode.
Oh, Master Mode.
That's what it's called. Yeah. And it seems like it ups everyone. I don't know if you've noticed when playing, but like the enemies change color as they get harder. So if you complete 20 shrines after the next blood moon, enemies are different colors. And like silver is tougher than dark blue, and dark blue is harder than red, goblins and all of that. And same thing with the Lionels, the lion people. Like if you see the color of their fur, you can figure out how hard they are. And I think silver Lionels are the hardest ones. But with this trailer, there is a gold Lionel, which I don't think we've seen gold before. and so you can just assume they're super tough, have lots of hearts, and hit very hard. And so everything apparently in Master Mode gets bumped up, and they regenerate health if you don't do it, like if you don't hit them again. And so you have to be quick and fast, but they're also harder. So it's gonna just change the feel of the game. And there's the hero's path and new outfits. Perfect time to go back to the game.
Yeah, I need to go finish it. And
I have the season pass.
I'm starting to feel that Zelda buzz coming back to me.
Yep, me too.
Yeah, so.
The trailer today got me super hyped, and I love that it's like not, this weekend, so I can maybe finish up some games I'm playing through now, but June 30th is a perfect time. Like, it's just a few weeks out to play that.
That's a little close for me, but because I still got to get back in there, and it kind of brings the hustle to me, because I also have this job starting in July, and I kind of want to get a little more serious about Zelda before that all starts, see if I can get it kind of more progress to finishing. I really think I have so much to do in that game still. It's going to take me a while. Even who have kind of completed a lot of it, pretty much the entire game, and still have so much left that I don't see me completing it for a long time, but I would at least like to get to that progression.
Well, I don't think you have any hustle. Like, I think it's like I said, if you've played the game for a few hours or hundreds of hours, I think this first DLC pass seems to be actually a game like having Master Mode and having your path available to you from an early point in the game would actually have been really awesome.
Yeah. So
if you're just starting it, I don't think, go ahead and buy the game with the expansion pass, or, go back to the game with that. I'm just kind of waiting off because I can.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Moving forward, and this won't get too much time because we're going to talk about it more so this weekend, but Super Mario Odyssey got an awesome new trailer and is the focus of E3 2017 for Nintendo. We got a release date of October 27th, which is earlier than I expected. I expected more of a November 20-something date. So October 27th is a month earlier than I expected. Perfect. Awesome. My birthday is October 13th. Get some gift cards. Get some money from Grandma. Go out and buy the game. Can't wait. It looks somehow, once again, the theme of Nintendo this year somehow exceeds expectations. And we'll talk about it more this weekend, but the simple thing I can say is that Super Mario Odyssey seems to be for Mario what Breath of the Wild was for Zelda, where they're like, how do we just break the game? How do we let the player do whatever they want, and then we'll balance and change the game accordingly? So they give us the ability to beat any enemy in the game by throwing our hat on them. They give us the ability to jump, seems like anywhere, with being able to throw out your cap and jump on it, or literally go through power lines. And the game looks gorgeous. The environments and worlds and collectibles all seem awesome, with collecting moons and collecting coins and using the coins to get new outfits that allow you to do new things. It looks like it's going to be the best definitive Mario, and it's on Switch. Can't get better than that.
No. I mean, we haven't had a Mario like this since, Sunshine, arguably. I mean, the Galaxy games, I think a lot of people didn't really consider them to be their own thing, separate from sort of Sunshine and this. But those games were 10 out of 10 games, really, and critically acclaimed, some of the best-selling games on the Wii. And this seems to be bringing back that quality and polish, and to the point where, I was thinking about how Mario 64, how that changed the game for Mario moving forward in the 3D space. We saw that influence from that game all the way up to, the new current games, to 3D worlds, even the games that didn't necessarily have the open world thing. We saw how Mario's mechanics himself changed, with his triple jumps and his wall hops and the flying caps and the power-ups in that regard, and how those all work. I just really can't see, they're going to have to go moving forward to now where Mario, I guess, unless he parts ways with the cap, the magic cap, kind of like he did with Flood and Sunshine. I guess I can see them moving on from this gameplay mechanic, but it seems so revolutionary that moving forward, it seems they'd almost have to always have that red cap that has the wings that makes you fly around freely, like they do in Galaxy, and we'll probably have inevitably in this game too. But it just seems moving forward, this is such a radical, huge, and important shift gameplay-wise for Mario that it's it's going to revolutionize the way you play Mario forever.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to see just, what happens. Like, people have broken Super Mario 64 and Sunshine for so many years in terms of like the speedrunning community and everything. And what you can do with those games is so cool, especially with their openness compared to a game like 3D World or something, which, is cool to watch being sped run, but not as interesting as the crazy breaking you can do with Mario 64 and Sunshine, with being able to traverse these huge worlds and break through walls and all that. So I'm really excited to see just, the epic scene that surrounds this game, and how it just having it's like when we talked about when Super Mario Maker was about to come. We're about to have one of the greatest games of all time, be released, and it's coming this year. We're like super close, months away from one of the greatest games of all time to be released, and that's so epic. And we just had one of the greatest,
the best 3D platformer like ever.
And we just
and
had
what's crazy, I'm noticing like while watching this, like not one of the games today did I think like, man, this game is held back graphically by being on the Switch. Like the Switch is in a lot of ways less powerful, I think, than, or not a lot of ways maybe, but especially now, I guess, with Xbox One X and PlayStation 4 Pro having 4K, 60 frames, high dynamic range, these games that can do all sorts of particles and polygons. Games have taken a huge step graphically moving forward. But not one Switch game today I was like, ugh, that's kind of ugly, or you can tell it's on Nintendo hardware or something, like watching this B-roll footage here of Super Mario Odyssey and talking earlier about Kirby and Yoshi's, presumably kind of like Woolly World or Paper World or whatever it's going to be. All of them are just eye candy. Like, it's just so gorgeous. It's going to be awesome, and we're getting more details already about Odyssey on the Treehouse, and presumably more throughout the rest of the week, with how some of these mechanics work and what you're doing and who Cap'n is, or Cappy, I think is his name, and how some of those mechanics work. And so we'll talk about that more this weekend when we can. We did get some new amiibo for Mario, so that's the 10th piece of news here. I have these up on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. We got a little Mario in like a wedding outfit, like a white tuxedo. He looks adorable. Then we have Princess Peach in her wedding dress because she's getting married to Bowser, who's in his wedding tuxedo. And the plot of the game is actually an evil wedding planning company is planning this wedding for Bowser and Peach, and you have to stop them because Mario's just against love, I guess. And so these are awesome new amiibo. My wife and I were super bummed that these did not come out before our wedding, because we would have definitely had these on top of our cake.
Mario's trying to prevent Bowser Jr. from his parents getting back together.
Yeah, it's evil. Like, it's very clear that Mario is the bad guy, sociopath here. He's possessing people in order to stop a wedding. Like, that's clearly the bad guy.
I know, he's like possessing the rocket
citizens
what are the rockets called? What are their names?
Bullet bills.
Bullet bills. Yeah, he's making them crash into walls and explode themselves. Like
bomb New Donk City.
Yeah, what is?
He's a terrorist. Yeah.
He's a freak of nature too, leaping from the buildings like he is and landing on his feet just completely fine. Like, how on earth?
He's locking into place. Did you see you can possess the citizens of New Donk City?
Yeah, I saw.
There's a scene in the trailer, like, he threw a cap on a person. The guy just shook on the floor, foaming at the mouth.
Well, it was. I know. Well, I was gonna say we need to talk about how ridiculous some of these things are in Super Mario Odyssey, and I guess we'll talk about it in the next episode a lot. But I mean, just like you can freaking possess, what is it, like just a post on the in the concrete to flip yourself out. Like you can possess the street signs.
Cheap.
Yeah. Just basically everything you can kind of possess in this game. I was wondering, I want to possess a building. Can I possess one of the buildings? Like, if I can't, I'm going to riot.
Or Pauline.
Yeah.
The girl singing. Just take her over while she's mid-chorus. And just everyone, like, gasps as she, like, just starts singing Mamma Mia.
Bowser
and all
at the
that.
very end.
I was wondering that, actually, because they did make it very clear you could only... Actually, that's the thing, is you can only possess enemies that have a hat.
Yeah,
was how they
that's
said
interesting.
it. And Bowser wears a top hat,
Yeah.
so I'm wondering how that works. If like maybe that's how you fight him at the end, is you possess him and run him into a wall or something, or run him into
That
bombs.
seemed kind of interesting to me, just the whole like they have to be wearing a hat, like, and how they were talking about like, well, just don't wear a hat then. Like, why is a Goomba wearing a hat anyway? What's going on? I don't know, but
It's just the fad going on right now. But they also did announce new Metroid amiibo as well. So that's also another piece of this news.
yeah.
Is that we have a new Samus amiibo coming out and a Metroid amiibo, which is a squishy amiibo. Actually, the first squishy amiibo we've ever had. They're getting so creative with these amiibo because last year we had the bendable one with Zelda. Now we have a squishy one for Metroid, and these will accompany number 11 on our new Nintendo pipeline, Metroid Samus Returns. We're getting a new Metroid on the 3DS. Metroid Samus Returns is coming to the 3DS sometime later this year. And it's a reimagination of the original Game Boy Metroid game, Metroid 2 Return of Samus, which was released back in 1991 and is essentially kind of unplayable now. Like the game, the way the tiny screen works and the exploration of that game, it was super hard to play.
Yep.
And is actually so difficult to play that last year someone remade the entire game and released it for free for people to finally be able to play it, and Nintendo shut it down due to like a copyright strike because the people were, obviously didn't have the rights to the game. At the time, Nintendo was viewed as incredibly controversial because they took down basically like a free, fun fan game. I was on the side of things where it's like, come on, like you don't have the rights to Metroid, you can't just
Well,
release this
and it
game.
wasn't just that.
And now it.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say it wasn't just that it was controversial because they shut it down, but also that it was such a neglected franchise for years and years, and seemingly like they're not doing anything with Metroid. Why do they even care? Like, you obviously don't care.
And now we know why they care, because they were making the remake.
Yeah.
And I mean, and no offense to the person that was making the remake, because I love the pixel art, but this is awesome. Like, they've completely reimagined the game in like a 2.5D. There's takedowns, melee attacks. They've added the dual screen of the 3DS to have map control and map management. They've released the amiibo alongside it. Oh, September 15th, 2017.
Yeah, not bad. So like really soon.
Wow. And I'm so pumped for it because honestly, I have Super Metroid and I've played through some of them on my Wii U Virtual Console, but I still really need to get into that series, and this will be an awesome. I think actually what I'll do is I'll play through Metroid Zero Mission, which is the original like Metroid 1, and then this is, I believe, the sequel to that then, and then Super Metroid is like, I need to look at the chronology, or the chronological order of the Metroid development, because I'd like to play it in that order where you play, and I think there's kind of a progression to it if you play it in like Metroid 1, 2, and Super Metroid order, and then Metroid Prime. I don't know where all that fits, but yeah, maybe I can play through some of the Virtual Console games in anticipation of this.
I know.
And then some of the other ones in anticipation of Metroid 4, Metroid Prime 4.
I have the Metroid Prime games on my shelf, like from GameCube to Wii to, so those games, I just don't know how I would like them to release just like a definitive collection, or even finally talk about some Virtual Console and just put those out like on Wii.
Well, they're on the Wii U. The Wii U, you can play all three as a Virtual Console game for like $20.
That's what I'm saying, is like I have them, but I just don't want to pull out those. I'd like them to do like some HD collection, or really come out and give those games like the love so that we can catch back up. But even like in terms of just Metroid Samus Returns and the whole 2D space of Metroid games, when Fusions came out, when the Game Boy Advance games, that was kind of when I would have first kind of gotten into Metroid, because during the Super Nintendo era, that just kind of was more, I guess, just not as much on my radar compared to, like, I think my age at the time. Super Mario World was more my focus, and Sonic the Hedgehog, those kinds of things, than Super Metroid. Not sure why I never was really interested in Super Metroid, or even really remember it very well being around at that time, but maybe it was kind of difficult to find. But I just remember Fusions and stuff was always, I tried so hard to get into those games, but it was so samey. Like, it all felt like I'm in some, like space station sort of thing. It felt, where everything is silver and cold and feels the same. I feel if I'm on one side of the map that I'm at the exact same spot on the other side of the map. It's kind of even the original, like Metroid 2 on the Game Boy. People had that confusion of everything looked so similar that where was I? And there's a lot of backtracking and getting confused. What I really love about this 3DS game, what we've seen so far, is they've really pushed the variety of environments where
they were saying that
even though you're like on the same planet, what I was seeing was a very diverse ecosystem and different rooms with different colors, and it seemed a lot more vibrant and brighter. And they even did that with the remake last year, the fan-made remake. That seemed they added a lot more vibrancy and just making the game feel just a little bit cooler, it felt. And I feel like I really need to get into Super Metroid. I feel that might be a little bit more a definitive and exciting and diverse game maybe than the Fusions series. Maybe that wasn't the best place to kind of jump in.
Or Zero Mission, I think, is also kind of that same style.
Yeah. But I feel like this for sure. I might go back and do Super Metroid and all those in prep. I really want to get those games on my backlog. But at the same time, I wouldn't mind just totally diving in with this because it seems like a perfect way to kind of get back in or even get in for the first time into Metroid and get prepared for 4. And I'm also kind of curious how 4 plays into like the ending of 3 and how much you really need to have played.
Or if it'll even be called 4. Like, I wonder if like they announce it like that.
I bet it will.
But
it seems it seems for the convenience and like the marketing and letting people know what it is. That's a good point to make it called Prime and 4 to have that.
I wonder though if like you had, because what was it, Star Fox Zero? Like I wonder if they'll do something like that where it's Metroid Prime Zero or something, or like something to kind of establish it as a new fresh take on it.
I would assume that 3 kind of rounded out a sort of trilogy thing, and so that this would be a start of something new. At least it'll be probably a continuation from 3, but like what 3 ended and now we're starting some new era, and so I wouldn't think that you'd necessarily have to know what happened in the first 3. And plus, I think
to say that. Oh, go ahead.
I think it's kind of also just they keep it, it's Nintendo and Zelda, Mario, all these franchises. It seems, maybe they have some story that's continuing through them, but they try to make every game where you can kind of jump in. I'm not totally sure how 2 and 3 of Prime worked in that regard in terms of just if you've never played 1 or 2, how that felt, but I do think that they're good at that. I would think that for such a reboot and such a long time between 3, that they'd realize a lot of people are probably jumping into 4 for the first time, and so they'll set some sort of backstory like Harry Potter books always had to state the entire everything that happened the past series. So hopefully they'll do some sort of refresher like that. I'm just really hyped. I'm so glad that I was seeing fans talking on like the Nintendo voice chat forum on Facebook saying I'm done with Nintendo until they announce Metroid, and so many people frustrated and just like, come on, it's time for Metroid, and they finally did it. So
yeah, they did it. It's crazy. Yeah, I think we won't be able to talk about too much about Metroid, I think, until we get our hands on the game in September. But we'll talk about it more then with some more Odyssey coverage this weekend with Koppai Podcast episode 61. But it was nice to talk about Metroid today and kind of give its moment to shine. Super excited for it. You'll probably hear about us playing through the classic Metroid games in our Games of the Week, or what we've been playing segments of our shows. So we look forward to that. But that's everything we have for E3 2017. Unless surprise announcements come, we'll let you guys know in the next Koppai Podcast, which will go live on Monday next week. And so until then, though, we can give a satisfying flush and watch the news swish and swoosh into oblivion. And now we can get back to watching more and more coverage of E3. The Splatoon tournament is about to start, and so I'll pull that up on my TV and sit back and relax. And
in ARMS this Friday.
Yeah. Oh, whoa. Yeah. ARMS comes out this. Dang, that sucks that we have to talk about Odyssey this weekend, but we're also going to have ARMS. We kind of covered ARMS impressions, though.
Yeah, we have.
How the game feels. So
I think we can make it a mix of Odyssey and ARMS or something. We'll have a whole bunch. It'll be an exciting episode.
And as we mentioned, we're hopefully starting live streaming next week with some ARMS stuff. Some late at night live streams maybe after the wives go to bed, we can be playing some ARMS. I'm trying to develop a schedule for you guys, so hopefully by the time actually the next podcast episode goes up on Monday, we'll have a schedule for you next week of when we're going to be playing ARMS, live streaming that for you guys, and hopefully moving forward that can be a consistent thing where we play, you know, ARMS for a month, then we get into some Splatoon live streams, maybe some Zelda live streams, Pokken live streams, and, you know, just with the Switch momentum, just always have some fresh schedules for you guys of playing games and kind of building up the Koppai Gaming YouTube channel with some video game playing besides just talking about it. But yeah, that's everything we have for today. Thank you so much for listening to this special episode of Koppai Podcast, and until next time, go!